Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Tommy Gilmore with Noisy Bird Digital Marketing, and you are watching another episode of Spotlight Southern Utah. If this is your first time here, I talk to a different business owner every week and we get to know them, get to know their business. I'm really excited because we're going to be talking to Austin Hales of AR Construction. So Austin, thanks for having me today.
Thank you.
So Austin, tell people a little bit about your business and sort of how you got started in the construction world.
So I started with HVAC when I was a kid, working with my father, and did that throughout my life, and then got started up in Cedar City about 3.5 years ago. We were born and raised in Las Vegas, and wanted to start something better for our kids. Vegas has grown to be a pretty big area, and so we decided that we would uproot to Cedar and start a business, and so that's how we got started.
That's awesome. How long have you had the business for then, beyond the 3.5 years?
The business was fresh when we started up in Cedar City.
Nice.
I did new construction in Las Vegas, and then also did maintenance at a acute care hospital down there, so been on both sides of both construction and maintenance. And so that was when we moved, decided that we would start a business and try that out.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'd imagine it's kind of difficult to go into a new market, start a brand new business, things like that. What are some of the challenges that you guys have faced in the last 3.5 years, and what are some things you've done to overcome them?
So probably one of the biggest challenges starting a business in a town where you don't know anybody. You have to prove yourself, so to speak, with the community and also other contractors. And so the biggest challenge is getting a shot, and then once you get a shot, to do some work for somebody, showing them why they should use you, and some of those things that we stand for is just a very high quality product at the end, something we stand by for the years to come, but also kind of a promise that we're not going to put anything in your home that we wouldn't put in our home.
Yeah.
And so it was tough getting started, but as we've kept that motto of a high quality product and something we stand behind, we've been able to gain the trust of some other contractors in town and build a pretty successful business.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think our industries are kind of similar in that there's a low threshold to entry. And so unfortunately there becomes a lot of bad actors, right? Yeah. And so, for contractors, it's cruddy communication, or I paid my deposit and he took off, and they left nails all over my driveway. You hear these common complaints over and over, and it's not exclusive to this area. And for my industry, I thought that he knew what he was doing, and it turned out he didn't. And I was being charged for a service I thought I needed, and I've heard people that pay $150, $200 a month for a website, and they're not really getting any value because the website is just sitting there. And so there's just some things that in both of our industries, it's hard to build that trust sometimes for even within others within our community, because you have to kind of prove yourself that you know what you're talking about a little bit.
Yeah, and it's trying to find a happy balance of you don't want to be the most expensive person out there, but you also want to be competitive, and then getting in front of a client and explaining why we're a little different than some of the other contractors. But there's nothing worse than going to someone's house that has spent a lot of money on a product and didn't get what they paid for, and so just trying to be show integrity in everything we do, and keep every client happy, which isn't always the easiest thing to do, but if that's your motto, it it's not impossible, but clients come first, and so it's been really good so far.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, basically every business is a service business, right? Like even products, they serve a purpose for people. And so the more that we're able to say, hey, like I know that this is something that people struggle with, for contractors, is finding the right ones or getting the product that they asked for at the end of the day, things like that. Like the more that we're able to serve clients and just build that trust continually, I think the better off our businesses are as a whole.
Yeah, and we've kind of stuck by word of mouth advertising, and personally, I think that's the best.
Yeah.
If someone can refer you to a friend because you've taken care of them or solved a problem for them, I found it's a lot easier to gain the next person's trust because someone they trust has referred you, and so. It may not go as fast with word of mouth, but you're able to keep solid clients.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing, even as a marketing person, it's the referrals that come in are always going to be like the highest close rate, your best kinds of clients generally, things like that. And so it is usually the best way to grow sustainably. Like you said, it's not near as fast, but it is a good way to just grow as long as you're doing a good job. So I was going to kind of rewind a little bit. We talked a lot about the construction side, but something that's interesting and kind of unique about you guys is you also do HVAC work, right? And yes. So like talk about how bringing that sort of expertise in helps with the build process, or the kind of helps differentiate what you guys are doing versus other people where you don't necessarily have to sub out that part of it.
Yeah, so when we started the business, we thought it would be easier to start with in a new town with HVAC. It's a smaller thing to start with before we went on to custom homes. But something we've noticed is something that doesn't get seen in a custom home or a home in general is the infrastructure and what you pay that's behind the walls of the home. And so in me trying to sell a product that will last a long time with HVAC and everything that you can't see in a home for comfort, it's allowed me to kind of take a look at the infrastructure of homes and what can we do during a build process that will withstand the life of the home. And so that's kind of a different look that I get that I can explain to customers is spend maybe a little bit more money in the infrastructure phase of your home that will last the lifetime. It's a lot harder to retrofit infrastructure than it is to retrofit cabinets, countertops, finishes, and so I always push for a better infrastructure inside the home as far as framing, plumbing, anything mechanical, and so I look at it a little bit differently. And then also with that, with the maintenance background, an ease of maintaining that house when everything's all said and done, that AC system, the plumbing system, whatever it may be, is how do we look after the next guy? And a lot of times that next person is the homeowner, and how can we make it easier on them to maintain a home?
Yeah, no, that's really smart. That's something, I just bought a house. I was telling you about that before. And yeah, I mean, it's something you don't see what's inside the walls of your house, right? You don't know how the plumbing is or the framing or things like that. We went to hang up our TV and we realized, oh, these studs are a little further apart than maybe we thought that they might be, and so it's those kinds of things you don't necessarily think about until, you're drilling your third hole, like, where the hell is this stud? kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as that, or it can be oh, I've got this huge HVAC issue, hopefully in 5-10 years, right? Like towards the end of the life of your machine. But, I've got this issue that's happening, and, how simple is it to fix that and get in there? Well, you as somebody that has a lot of experience doing that, you're making it easier, ideally for the homeowner or for whatever person they have to hire to fix that problem, it sounds like.
Yes.
That's awesome. I have to explain it to me because I've got real soft hands. Just wanted to make sure I understood your point, because it makes sense to me though that like we don't really think about what's inside the house necessarily, but those little things do definitely like make a difference in when things do break, how big of a headache is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. The last question I wanted to ask you, Austin, is just about like, you've been in business for the 3.5 years. You've done some things before that, but most of us as business owners, we have to learn these hard lessons along the way. What's the best piece of business advice that you've either read or been given by somebody else that now you're implementing it and you've seen the growth from it?
Probably the best is being responsive as a business owner. There's nothing more frustrating than reaching out to someone and not hearing back for weeks and weeks, or waiting weeks and weeks on quotes. And sometimes that's easier said than done when you get kind of busy and buried by the day-to-day. But I've found that as you're accessible and you're a quick response, the end customer appreciates that. And so with that and the not doing anything I wouldn't do in my own home are probably the best things. There's times when doing the right thing isn't always profitable. and so but there's a happy customer is something that's irreplaceable. And something that I've noticed is there's a lot of people out there that are quick to be able to write a negative response. And when I say a lot of people, I don't mean a lot of people. Let me rephrase that. It's easy to write a negative review about something that you had a bad experience with. It's a lot harder to get someone to write a positive review. And so when you think about that, when someone's mad, they can be brewing and really get out and write something bad or give you a bad review. And so when you think of that end customer and trying to do the right thing, just always knowing that, not so much knowing, but putting yourself in their shoes. Like, how would I want this situation resolved if I was in their shoes? And sometimes it's not about making money or maybe costing a little bit of money to do the right thing. But I feel like if you're always doing the right thing and you're responsive, taking care of the customers, and having integrity in not only what you do but the cost that you do it for, I feel like you'll always be successful. And so that's kind of what I've stood by so far, and it's worked good for me, and being honest and straightforward. And I feel like honesty goes a long way in a construction trade. There's a lot of people out there that are leery. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've had a bad experience or someone that's charged them way too much. And I come from an AC economy where prices are very elevated because of the climate there, right? And so doesn't necessarily make it right. And so how can I be honest? How can I give you an honest price? I'm not looking forward to getting rich off one client. I'm looking forward to building a bond with a community, a small community, but to build a bond within a community, and how can I make this community better? So
that's awesome. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of things that you said that I think people can take from it, but in talking about those negative reviews, they're inevitable, unfortunately, in business. And I think how people respond to those situations says a lot about how their company will either sink or swim. I've seen business owners that get on Google or get on Facebook and, oh, you did it, like they're responding back with the same kind of fire. And then you can tell, like, okay, yeah, like that person is probably difficult to deal with, but if you say, look, like, sorry about how the situation turned out, like, we're happy to try to make it right. Here's what I propose or whatever, or, I'll reach out privately to try to learn more about the situation, like things like that. If I see that on a Google review, it goes way further than, well, you were a difficult customer to deal with, and like just that hit them back kind of mentality. Yeah. So a lot of times it's, we do take it personally because it is our business, but you have to take that step back and say, okay, like I don't have to respond right now. I can respond in a day or 2 days or whatever when I'm a little calmer about this, and let's see if we can hopefully, like you said, figure out a way to make this like a win-win type of situation, even if it means I lose a little bit of profit or all the profit at the end of the day. Like you said, I'd much rather have a person that's happy that got the result that they're looking for than just to have that thing. I'm listening to a book. It's called Conscious Capitalism. It's the guy that started Whole Foods, and he talks about like everybody shouldn't be in business just for profit. He said he talks about Viktor Frankl and Man's Search for Meaning, and he said like business can be an extension of you finding your purpose. Like if you enjoy what you do, it'll like wake you up, it'll energize you, it'll make you excited. And so the profit will come down the road as long as you're, like you said, treating people well, giving that service that you enjoy giving, and just like that thing that lights you up and fires you up, people will be magnetized to that as a result. So I definitely agree with everything you're saying. I think it's really, really good advice for people watching.
Thank you.
But to close, it's getting towards the winter time. This morning it was 35 degrees when I woke up. I know that people are starting to think a little bit about winter as far as like HVAC and everything goes. Do you have any specials going on, or is there anything that you want people to know about here locally that you offer?
So something that I'm really excited about, I love technology. I love kind of being out of your comfort zone, so to speak. I feel like if you're in your comfort zone, you're not growing. And so I try to take in new technology, and something that I'm really excited about is this new heat pump technology that's come out. In the past, heat pumps were efficient in heating to about 40 degrees, and so you couldn't use them in cold climates. And so with this new technology, heat pumps are efficient to minus 21 degrees, so we can use them up here in cold climates. The benefit of heat pumps is they're extremely efficient, both in heating and in cooling. And so with some of the new technology, a lot of people think of heat pumps, mini splits, as something hanging on the wall. They've now made it to where we can put forced air handlers to a heat pump, and then we can do multiple zones with air handlers on these heat pumps. And so for a retrofit, if you have a traditional furnace or traditional AC system, we can now retrofit it with a more efficient heat pump system. And so I've become part of the Rocky Mountain Power Trade Ally system. And so when we do a retrofit or a new system with a heat pump, it qualifies for rebates, and those rebates go to the homeowner. And so the system is a little bit more expensive, but those rebates allow it to be more competitive with the traditional system. And so they can be upwards of $2,000 in rebates. And so that's something that I push as far as retrofitting, or if you're looking to be a little bit more efficient in your home. Those heat pumps are something that I like the technology. I like where they're going, and they also come with 10-year warranties free of cost. And so That's kind of a deal we offer is those heat pumps, being able to qualify for rebates through Rocky Mountain Power, and then also those 10-year warranties that come with them free of charge. And so any other thing is just I always recommend you get flooded with phone calls when it's really cold. Change your filters regularly, go through your system, make sure you're ready for winter or change of season when spring comes. Rinse off your outdoor unit. If you have any issues or questions, don't hesitate to reach out to someone to come look at it. But a lot of times it's a phone call when it's already too late.
Yeah.
And the problem's worse because now your house is freezing or hot. And so if you can, think ahead, test out your heat maybe a little bit earlier, make sure everything's running, see if there's anything wrong, and then if you need any help, by all means reach out.
Yeah. What's a good phone number for them to reach out to you at if they want to get a hold of you or want, have some questions for you?
435-868-1435.
Awesome.
That's my number, and like I said, if we can help in any way, glad to come out and take a look.
That's great. Yeah, I'll put that in the description so people can easily find it, hopefully.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, Austin, appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And to you watching, thank you so much for watching again. This has been another episode of Spotlight Southern Utah. We'll see you again next week where we'll be here with another business owner. But until then, we'll see you later.